Ladies and gentlemen, the next United States Heavyweight Champion, Ravishing Rick Rude!
There's nothing in my dreams, just some ugly memories. Kiss me like the ocean breeze.
Please welcome the newest members of the Dangerous Alliance, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
Real be my lover, I will shiver and sing.
The world's greatest athlete and newest member of the Dangerous Alliance, the world's TV champion, Stunning Steve Austin.
Nothing left alive but a pair of glassy eyes. Raise my feelings one more time.
Please welcome one of Sting's best friends and a little stinger himself. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful Bobby Eaton! It's not an army, it's not a stable, and it's not a family. It's an alliance of businessmen who will bring WCW down to its knees. North-South Connection. Welcome to episode number 9 of the 7 Months of Danger podcast. I am your host, Sean Kidd, and we have reached a big moment in time. We are going to talk tonight about Starrcade 91, the Lethal Lottery, Battle Bowl, whatever the hell you want to call it. It has multiple names. Some people might call it shit. And the first one I'm going to bring in that would probably call it that is one of my co-hosts, Matt Souza. How are you tonight?
Sean, good to be here. Good to cover another pay-per-view. Going to be talking about Battle Bowl. Excuse me, I misspoke.
Battle Bowl.
Yes, Battle Bowl. Again, I misspoke. It's actually Battle Bowl, but that could mean a toilet bowl too. So, great to be here as always.
Awesome. Welcome, Matt. Scott Shiflett, how are you tonight?
I'm glad to be here, as this is one of my favorite pay-per-views. Unironically, it's like my comfort pay-per-view, so I'm ready to take on all comers tonight. Drawn at random, of course.
I'll hold that thought because I'm going to ask you about why it's your favorite pay-per-view, just not yet.
Okay.
And then Logan Crossland, how are you tonight, Logan?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm gonna try and not be an absolute asshole throughout this podcast. No,
I mean, that seems like a tall order, but I mean,
wow,
it's very tall for sure.
All right, and last but certainly not least, as always with our pay-per-views and our clashes, we have our special guest commentator, Jacob Williams. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Happy to be with you guys. I've been enjoying the pod, following along with you guys since the last time I was on. It's always a pleasure to be here. I've been a bit surprised at how I feel like you guys have been a bit down, which, again, nothing against it. I like that you guys are being honest because it is such a like a beloved period that I'm kind of happy that you guys have, kept it honest and have not always, made it seem like everything's the greatest. So it's been a lot of fun to kind of see you guys' perspective. But I'm ready to get down to the Battle Bowl. Battle Bowl. We'll get to it.
It's Battle Bowl. That's just a toilet bowl instead.
How many times? Well, I don't think I have to say do I have to say Arachnaman tonight? I think.
Jesus, I hope not.
God damn it! I hope not either.
He did not make it into the lottery.
No,
unfortunately.
But Jake, one thing you can count on is we're always going to be honest, and I think the biggest thing for all of us as we've done this podcast is it's a lot of It's very formula. Like the matches have a lot of formula. Their 6-man has a formula. We're going to talk a lot of formula on our future episodes. It's just like back in the day when you didn't watch it back to back to back and you watched it every week. I think you forgot a lot of that stuff. But it's definitely different. It gives different perspective now. So we'll see how we go tonight and how Starrcade 91 is. So we're going to jump right into it. So Starrcade 91, December 29th, 1991. We do have no Meltzer notes tonight. So we are clear and free of that, which is pretty good because Meltzer didn't really plug this pay-per-view at all, just like the TV of WCW didn't either. We're just kind of here. Here it is. We have 40 stars and tag bouts, random and 10 tag team matches. 20 men will advance to Battle Bowl into a double ring. So Shiff, I will start with you first. You said this is one of your all-time favorite shows. So could you explain to us why?
It's just been like a comfort pay-per-view for me. Like I can put this on at any time and just watch it through. I I don't like. I owned it on VHS, and I just remember watching it so much when it was on when the network got added all those years ago. Think about that. Like I think it was like 8 years now for the network. It was one of the first pay-per-views that I put on. I just love it. I think because like I'm a big Sting fan, and like he's standing tall at the end of this pay-per-view because the story of the pay-per-view sort of revolves around him and Luger, and this is like the last time we see Luger actually until Super Brawl for the most part. So like, and I think like JR is just amazing on this night, especially at the end of the Battle Royal with Sting and Luger. And it also has one of my funniest moments, which we'll get to at the Battle Royal, which has tripped me out even since I was a little kid. But we'll get to that. And also, it's just different with like you truly believe, and with it being WCW, the pairings may be random.
I don't know, man. Well, we were joking before we started recording. One of the pairings with Juice and Liger, in my opinion, it probably is. It has to be random because there's no way you like purposely would book that. I would imagine. But Souza, I will go to you. So, unlike Shift, this is one of your least favorite shows based on what I've heard. So, what is your thought on this show before we jump into it?
So, first of all, I'm not the biggest fan of the Battle Bowl concept to begin with. I think it's a concept that's much better in theory than it is in practice. I just think a lot of the matches are kind of middling and there's no real stakes or anything to them. But the bulk of my issues with the Battle Bowl concept lie with Starrcade 91. Like, I think Starrcade 92 kind of nails what they should do with this formula. Like, my biggest problem with Starrcade 91 is that the entire show is Battle Bowl. And this is your biggest show of the year, and you don't have like a world title match, a tag title match, anything like that. Especially when you factor in that this is one of Luger's last dates on his contract, and he's got 1 foot out the door. And to not even have him wrestle a singles match, but not defend the title or anything like that, I just think it's real dumb. So yeah, that's kind of where I lie with it. Like, this whole show would have made more sense to me like if the winner of the entire Battle Bowl thing gets a title shot against Lex Luger, like the same night. Like you say, like they say Lex Luger, Lex Luger is going to defend the title at Starrcade against the winner of Battle Bowl, something like that. Then this whole show would have made more sense to me.
So like if they had closed the show with what they closed it with, except it was a world title match, and that's what it was. That's what it was.
Bingo. If there was some form of stakes to it besides, I got a shiny ring.
What's wrong with the Battle Bowl ring?
It's a ring. Who cares?
All right. Well, it's a ring. All right. Logan, before I ask you about this pay-per-view, and don't get, your, opinion of it in terms of the show itself. What is our worst match and our best match that we've watched so far, 9 episodes in at this point?
Austin Champion is our worst match from last episode, actually. And then our best match is still Rhodes and Steamboat versus the Enforcers from Clash of the Champions.
All right. Austin and Champion probably never to be repeated. And I don't think that one from the Clash will be tonight either. So I think we're in pretty safe zone tonight. So Logan, your thoughts on Starrcade 91. When did you first watch it? What were your initial thoughts before we get into it again tonight?
Yeah, I think I watched it when the network came out. I kind of went through all the WCW pay-per-views because obviously I'd never really seen many or a ton of them. I'd seen a few beforehand, but I hadn't seen very many. But I just went through them, watched it then. I don't hate Battle Bowl. I won't say it's my favorite concept, but I do enjoy some of the some of them that have happened through history. But this is definitely not the best, I'd say. But we'll talk about more of it as we go.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, Jake, your thoughts. When did you first watch it? What did you initially think about it before we talk about it tonight?
Yeah, like Logan, I was a drooling snotty baby at the time, so I didn't watch it live, obviously. But
no, I wasn't even born yet. So,
well, I was born, but only for a short time. I'd only been on this earth for a short time. But yeah, I had watched it later on once the network came out and everything. But I'm of the mind where it's like Shiff's opinion, like I kind of wanted to, because like to me the obvious like WWF comp is Survivor Series. And you kind of feel like that's what they're going for. But the missteps are like one, like Matt said, is putting it as Starrcade, I think is a misstep on their part because that's like your biggest show. I think if it was just some random show, which they eventually kind of move it to like Slamboree or whatever. But like if it was just like a one-off B show, I don't think it would maybe be as harshly remembered. But it makes people feel like they're getting cheated out of a Starrcade almost when you put Battle Ball at Starrcade. So that's kind of putting them behind the 8 ball there. And I just think it doesn't play to their strengths. Like, to me, the strength of WCW is you have all these people who can kind of go in the ring and just have good matches and stuff. And I don't think that they're behind the scene. Like, they don't have like, I don't feel like they have like a Vince or somebody who's so detail oriented with storyline stuff. Because I feel like for this to work and really hit, like you would have to really be meticulous in the way you book it and like try and set up little angles. And we'll see, they do a little bit of it, but there's just not enough oomph to like the novelty is these odd pairings, but they don't really do a whole lot with a lot of the odd pairings throughout the show. And like a couple guys already mentioned, it makes the show come off as kind of flat. Like, I just don't feel like they put enough thought into what they were doing to make this work. And it just kind of makes the show not land as good as maybe it could have been if they would have like really put a lot of energy into meticulously booking it. But I just don't think that's how they operated, really.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with a little bit of everything you guys have said. So I think, Matt, was it you that said 92 seemed to hit? 92 for me is a very good Starrcade. I mean, you got the title matches. There's a banger tag team. There's banger tag team matches on a Starrcade. 92 is very good. Jake, to your point, a one-off pay-per-view, they did that in 93, which I think we covered on Chicken Salad at one point, right, Logan?
We did. That's correct.
Yeah,
and we kind of shockingly enjoyed it from what I remember.
We did. I did shockingly enjoy it. One of these days I'm going to have to do a pod where we actually get to do Starrcade 92 because I don't think that's pay-per-views talked about enough. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. And you know, I was 18 when this came out. I had graduated that past summer. I was watching WCW, and I thought this was initially going to be a cool concept. Like, for me, when I went into it, I was like, man, they got all these stars. Like, if you think about it, you got Sting, you got Steamboat, you got Vader, you got the Steiners, and I'm like, man, they can't go wrong in what they're going to do. My hope was they were going to book it where they took all the best of the best, intermingled them together in terms of like these off pairings, but it was also going to be the top stars. Well, unfortunately, that's not what we get tonight. And I think that's why it kind of blows up in their face a little bit. So it was the exact opposite. So I'm kind of like you when I watch it, and I'm watching it at the end. I'm like, all right, obviously they're building the Sting and Luger, and that's pretty cool because, you know, Luger attacked him at the Clash. And, you know, that's the one where Jake was on where we were making fun of Sting for being such a dumbass. But it kind of continues that story tonight a little bit at the end, which we'll talk about when we get to the actual Battle Bowl itself. So let me jump right into this first. So your hosts tonight are Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. The opening has all the wrestlers on stage. And I love that, like the stage, like there's just like no context. It's like these little firecrackers with smoke that go off. Like,
so dark.
And one is like directly in front of Luger, and he's like holding his hand up with just blinding him.
Yeah, there's like no budget. It's like they went to the fireworks stand on July 4th.
Damn shame it didn't blow Luger's ass up.
Stop it. So literally, it's no budget. Literally, they went to the fireworks stand in July, and they held on to it to December so they could use it for this pay-per-view. That's how bad it was. Awful. Eric, so we're going to kick it right off. So Eric Bischoff, Missy Hyatt, Magnum TA draw the names for tag teams at random. And there are several times throughout this show where there are awkward pauses while on them, and they look at each other smiling and looking absolutely stupid. So, Jake, I'll let you talk to that because you actually put that up in our group chat. I fucking died laughing the first time this happened. Like, Bischoff's on there with his little cheesy Ken doll face. Missy and TA are looking at each other with a goofy, awkward smile. It was like literally like almost a minute of just awkwardness. So
right, I was blowing up the chat because I was like obsessed with this. I could not believe it's like they're done talking and they're like, "All right, we're done," and then like the camera forever like they lay on them for too long and they don't know what to do and like they just start looking awkwardly. And Eric Bischoff at this point is just like the biggest cornball. So he just has this like shitting grin on his face the entire time. Missy looks like she just wants to be literally anywhere else in the world. She looks so checked out. And then Magnum's just like standing there. It's very uncomfortable at several points. You could feel them like trying to make the director cut to something else with their mind. Like they're just trying to focus like psychic energy to get the camera away. They feel so uncomfortable.
It was, but it brought the laughs like immediately out of the gate. I was dying laughing. It was great. I assume Logan and Shiff and Matt, you guys all felt the same way about that.
Yeah, great deer in the headlights acting by everybody there.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Logan.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, TA. I'm like Jake with Missy. I feel like TA could have really been anywhere else, and he would have been twice as happy as he was being up there. So
Yeah, I imagine like they could have had a chair or something for TA, and he's just got to stand there and look awkward, and he's up there. I was just saying.
Especially with his leg, Jesus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I wasn't trying to make a joke about it, but think about the guys on freaking like,
right?
He can't walk, and he's got to sit there and stand awkward. I mean, really? I mean, Shiff, anything you'd like to say since this is your favorite show of all time?
Yeah, Bischoff. He's always kind of like that goofy look. Like it's like he never gets used to being on camera. Like I would say, even like when he was in WCW as the NWO, like with the NWO and with like he always has like that weird shit-eating grin that makes you want to punch him. But they said that TA was brought back for the night to be like the commissioner, which is something I'd never noticed before. And it also makes sense because Dusty is back in charge and TA is his boy, because I believe I'll have to double check this, that Battle Bowl was Dusty's creation, like because he's back in the
It was his creation, correct?
Oh,
yeah.
Dusty, what are you doing?
So like TA is back, has some power because Dusty has some power again, but no, yeah, it was just a rough, and it's just awkward, but that's what WCW was. It was never known to be the most polished TV show.
All right, so I'll start talking about some of these other matches that I know we've all watched, but we're not going to really go in detail on because the majority of these matches absolutely suck. So our opening match, this opening match is something. Imagine opening the show with us. Michael P.S. Hayes and Tracy Smothers taking on Jimmy Garvin and Marcus Alexander Bagwell. So obviously the Freebirds are a podcast non-favorite. And really, basically, the bottom line of this whole match was the Freebirds are reluctant to fight, so they do a lot of strutting. And while the Birds argue, Bagwell pins Smothers with a fisherman suplex at 12:45, and then the Freebirds make up at the end. So, Matt, would you like to say anything about this match? I know, again, I didn't have you watch it, but do you remember this match? And I'm sure you hated it as much as anything. The Freebirds.
12 minutes and 45 seconds is almost certainly too long for a match involving Michael Hayes, Jimmy Garvin, Marcus Bagwell, and Tracy Smothers.
Yes. 12:45 for the opening. Shiff, since it's your favorite show, one of the hottest openers ever in pay-per-view history, or
Bad Street, Atlanta, GA.
Jesus.
I suspect that he wasn't parroting the Atlanta Tomahawk chop this time. It's probably because they weren't in Atlanta, but they were in Norfolk, Virginia.
That's Norfolk.
Norfolk.
Logan, anything else to add to this awesome opener?
Oh, I did watch this match because I had the idea at the beginning of the show that I was going to watch the whole show. No, it's awful. It's very terrible and very not good. So, yeah.
All right, Jake,
Move
any
on.
thoughts? Did you watch
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it or not, but any thoughts?
I've seen it before, but the strutting thing, it's kind of like the anti, like, Demolition and the Rumble going after each other. So instead of this, they just start strutting like a bunch of goobs.
What a great comparison.
Like the antithesis, like two tough guys beating each other up. So these goobers just start strutting.
I love that you brought that up because I remember when Demolition came out for the Rumble, how freaking much I popped and was waiting for it. And now you bring up the Freebirds doing the same thing, and it just totally puts it on the opposite end of the spectrum. So great. All right. Our second match that we did not watch, or we did, but we're not going to talk about. Jushin Liger, the Japanese sensation who is here and at this point in time had already won the WCW light heavyweight title, but we'll talk about that on our next show. Comes in from Japan to team up with the world's strongest man, Bill Kazmaier. And their opponents are Mike Graham and Diamond Dallas Page. So Kazmaier basically tosses Liger onto Page for the win. 13 fucking minutes for this match. Logan, anything to say about this one?
Yeah, I only watched a little bit of this one, so I can't say as much, but just like what an array of talent in this match. I mean, you have probably one of the best guys from Japan at this point, and then you have the talentless hack Bill Kazmaier as his teammate, and then the fucking sieve of entertainment Mike Graham, and a young in the business Diamond Dallas Page. So I mean, just a complete complete mess of a.
I love you said young in the business, Diamond Dallas Page, and he's like 70 in this match.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said young in the business.
Matt, anything on this stellar second match of the night that we're talking
Jesus, what a dream team. Jushin Liger and Bill Kazmaier. Who would have thought? You know, they should have given them a tag title run.
Hey,
And again-
Kazmaier had just been challenging for the world title. That tells you 1991 WCW.
Yeah, good God almighty. Again, much too. 13 minutes. Jesus Christ. See, this is part of the problem with this show is that most of the matches are long as hell, and I think that's part of the issue is that a lot of them are long as hell, and because they are seemingly random, they're also kind of heatless. So, yeah.
All right, Jake, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much what Matt said. Like you mentioned earlier, Sean, like not utilizing the talent well. Like Jushin Liger being kind of wasted in this. Like, at least you're going to use all these like schlubs. Just put them all in the first few matches and have them all go like 4 minutes. And like, you know, but like you guys said, having everything have to go at least 12 to 15 minutes it's not a good decision.
Yeah, and Shiff, once again, your favorite pay-per-view of all time, and we're off to 2 great matches to start. What do you think?
Mike Cram sucks. He was sandbagging for Liger the whole time to try to make him look bad because that little mental midget couldn't do shit if it was outside the state of Florida.
My goodness.
That's quite the take. All right, our next match of the evening. I mean, again, these are all out of order, and then we'll talk about the Dangerous Alliance matches when we get into that. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Patriot Todd Champion versus Cactus Jack and Buddy Lee Parker. Parker ends up getting pinned after Steamboat hits him with the flying crossbody. So imagine this. You have a Kazmaier match, a Freebirds match that go 12:45 and 13 minutes. You have a Steamboat match and a Cactus Jack match that goes 7 minutes. So, Logan, what did you think? What about this?
Well, Buddy Lee Parker gets murdered by
It's
Abdullah
so
Butcher
funny.
in the backstage before this match. So that was great. He gets absolutely mauled in the back because Abdullah at this point is trying to help Cactus, or I don't even know. That storyline gets so confusing throughout the night.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to cover that over the next few episodes. It'll be a lot of fun. Yes.
I will shit upon the other half of that later when we get to that. But yeah, this match was pretty much all storyline. Like Cactus wrestles the whole match by himself, and then Buddy Lee comes at the end and loses because he got his ass kicked in the back. So.
All right, Jake, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I do like the novelty in this one of like Steamboat and Cactus in there. It's kind of a fun little like pairing off. But like you mentioned, it only gets like 8 minutes compared to, you know, all the other bullshit getting like 15 minutes is baffling.
Imagine, again, I can't understand why you would have a Liger or a Steamboat. Like, I just don't know how you, like, do you guys, let me ask an honest question. Do you legit think this was a random drawing, or do you really think they booked this shit? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think with like the main story matches, like we'll see with the DA and with Sting's match, they had that stuff like set up. But with this, like with these random matches, it's like, I don't think so. Like, I think they were like, all right, maybe like, oh, it'd be cool with the Freebirds. All right, well, we'll just draw the other two people. Because I'm not sure if Sean mentioned this, and if you did, Sean, I'm sorry. They had the heel and babyface locker room on camera, so you could see the live action and when people get their names drawn.
Don't worry, I'll bring that up when we get to the Austin Rude tag team match, because that one starts off with a banger when they draw. So we'll talk about it when we get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, this is Matt, anything?
It's a Todd Champion match, so naturally it sucks.
All right. That's all you got to say. And Shiff.
It's a fun story, as Logan said, with like Abdullah getting pissed off that he's not tag partners with Cactus. So he beats the piss out of Buddy Landell, and Buddy Landell army crawl into the ring just for Cactus. I didn't even watch the match on this thing. I just remember it off of memory. A Cactus like tagging him in and throwing him into the ring just for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to get him. It just makes me laugh because they were trying to make it seemed like they were trying to make Abdullah be like Kamala, where he's like the village idiot in certain ways.
All right, so 3-star match for you, this one.
Love the no sell. Fucking perfect.
All right, moving on.
Beautiful.
All right, moving on. Next match. This next one, Big Van Vader and Mr. Hughes. Okay, so not bad, right? Versus Rick Steiner. Again, not too bad. And the Night Stalker. Who can tell me who the Night Stalker is?
It's Brian Clark, Adam Bomb.
It is Adam Bomb, the Night Stalker. So this match goes 5 minutes, and basically the Night Stalker gets demolished by a Vader splash, and Vader and Mr. Hughes move on, and they become a regular tag team as we move on in the future anyway. So, Matt, anything on this one?
It was a very chronic beating on the Night Stalker.
Chronic.
Yes.
Chronic.
Yeah, it was a great one.
Mhm.
All right, Jake.
I did not rewatch this one. I don't have many memories of it. So
I don't know why you would. I mean, the Night Stalker's an all-time great gimmick. That's why you would watch this match.
I just like calling Mr. Hughes Mr. Huge.
Mr. Huge. All right.
I like the Day Stalker better.
Logan, anything on this one, or you just want to move on and maybe send it to Shiff for his 3-star rating again?
Yeah, let's move on to Shift's glowing praise.
Shiff, anything you would like to say about this 5-star classic?
No, because Brian Clark sucks.
All right.
How dare you?
How dare you? Well, let's talk about someone who does suck. So we have the word that Sean cannot pronounce, Arachnaman, and Johnny B. Oh, I said it right. And Johnny B. Bad ended up getting their asses handed to them by one Scott Steiner and Firebreaker Chip. I am not going to ask anybody's opinion on it because I'm sure the match sucked ass. And the final match of the night, before we talk about our main ones, Ron Simmons and Thomas Rich defeat PN News and Scott Armstrong. Shiff, anything you'd like to say about that one?
Yeah, even when I was a little kid, I fast forward through this match.
All right. I assume nobody else wants to speak of that match, so we can just jump right into what we want to talk about, correct?
Yeah, if Shift buried it, that's not a good sign for anyone else.
Right.
All right.
I am sad to see PN News not make it to Battle Bowl as we've kind of glowed about him in the last few episodes that we've talked about him.
Yeah, he's been very good on this watch. So, all right, so our first match we're going to talk about tonight in detail is first two members of our alliance is Stunning Steve Austin and Ravishing McRude. They happen to get drawn together as a team. Unfortunately, their opponents are Big Josh and One Van Hammers, who are continuing this great random draw. So this would actually be the second match of the night. One of the ways they started off, which popped the shit out of me, they call Rude's name, and Rude didn't hear it in the locker room at first, and then Missy TA and Eric are again just standing there looking clueless. And Tony tries to cover it up, which was absolutely amazing. I'll let you guys talk about that after I go through the match. So basically, more wonderful Austin booking, as you know, on this show. Steve Austin booking has been absolute shit, but it's kind of the same here where Hammer just basically cuts him off at every corner. Rude eventually tags in, and the thought I had in my mind initially was if when he left WWF feuding with Jake Roberts, or maybe me in the first Survivor Series main event, if one day he dreamed of being in the ring with Van Hammer at Starrcade, I mean, I would think everybody would want to be in that at that point. When Rude is in, he does dominate Hammer. Josh is another story because when he's tagged in, he scoop power slams Rude, clotheslines him multiple times. He knocks the heels head together. He just gets a lot of shine, and I think we said it before. It's a shame Matt Bourne didn't get a better run in this versus being great value Paul Bunyan, because he's really, really good when it comes to the wrestling, and I think he could have been a top face here for sure. The heels end up tagging in and out and work over Josh a bit, and then Paul distracts the ref as Austin and Rude double team, and then Rude smacks his hand behind the ref's back to make it sound like a tag, which I thought was a nice little detail there from a heel standpoint. There's a very long rear chin lock by Austin. They pan to 5 fans clapping in the crowd, but when you go back to the ring, you see absolutely no one moving. They're all sitting and look absolutely bored. At one point, Paul helps Austin choke Josh on the ropes in front of the ref, who pretends to turn his head as not to see it, and looked absolutely ridiculous. Hammer finally comes in. There's a power slam to Austin, belly to back, and a flying shoulder block. And then there's all 4 in the ring. The ref pushes Josh to his corner. Austin tags Rude discreetly on a rope throw, and Rude hits an unknowing Hammer with a Rude Awakening for 3. This was 14 minutes of absolute boredom. Again, I thought Austin looked very green and blah to me, and this should have been a tag team. This should have been like a tag team match on one of their syndicated shows, not a fucking Starrcade. I went 1 star on this match. I hated it. Matt, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, super fucking boring match. 14 minutes, way too long. The heat segment would not fucking end. I thought it was halfway decent when Big Josh was in the match, but I thought it absolutely sucked whenever Van Hammer was in it. Van Hammer is fucking terrible. I need to tell you this because it's true. Van Hammer sucks, and somehow he kept a job in WCW for 10 fucking years. It's a crime against humanity. He's always sucked. He always will suck. Not much here. Way too long. Once again, Van Hammer sucks. So I somehow went a star and a half. I don't know how that happened.
Good God, really?
That's what my notes say. So let's go with that. Star and a half.
Wow, a star and a half. Wow. I'm going to say Shift for last on all of these, just because. Jake, what did you think of this?
What a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I would have star and a half, which I'll mind you is the equivalent of a 3 out of 10 on a 10-point scale.
I guess we should go fuck ourselves, Jake.
Not a glowing rating. Just want to point that out. But yeah, it was real flat. Like, I feel like I read some reviews just going into this because I was just looking at what people online have said. And like, I kind of tell when people are just kind of had their own biases because a lot of the reviews I looked at for this match were like, oh yeah, Austin and Rude were at least good in it, but they're not. They're really not good in this match. Like Rude isn't either. Like he's clearly mailing it in. He goes to a lot of like chin locks and stuff. He's real. I mean, he does a couple good moves in here, but like he's certainly not bringing his A game. Like he definitely has the feeling of like, look, I'm just going out here doing this fucking tag match for 50 minutes, getting my paycheck. Like he's really not very motivated here. Again, with all I'm sure you guys have talked about it, but the tights on Austin are just so, and I know it's like of the time, but they look very jobbery. I think that's part of his issue right now too, is that he doesn't look in ring like great. His presentation is not the greatest. Van Hammer. I thought too. This is like the negative sometimes of the WCW style, where you have a guy like Van Hammer feeling the need to like do mat wrestling. Like we don't need Van Hammer like working wrist locks. Like JR tells at one point, like he's doing a crappy wrist lock, and he's like Hammer's keeping it very elementary. I'll say. But like there's this need for like every guy to be able to be like a wrestler's wrestler, and it's like no, you need a guy like Van Hammer just should come in and do like his 3 moves or whatever. Like you didn't be trying to like do catch can wrestling. It's ridiculous. But yeah, they didn't build a lot of momentum. And I'm with Matt. I thought Big Josh of all of them had the most shine in this match. Like
I love Big Josh. He's great. Matt Bourne is awesome.
He was like the star of this match, even more than Austin or Rude for sure. Like he was the one positive out of the whole match, even though his jeans have like a weird light spot on the crotch, which I'm not really sure what's going on there. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Wow.
Yeah,
he really is Big Josh.
Yeah, it's lighter. It's much lighter than the rest of his jeans, but yeah, very ho hum. Again, I want a star and a half on it, so I guess I'll go fuck myself with Matt. But I certainly
no, it's fine.
Let's go, Jake.
No,
I didn't think it was anything.
Yeah.
Just super flat. Definitely a flat match.
All right, thank you, Jake. Logan, your thoughts?
He bleached that spot on his jeans, if you know what I mean. That's why it was a little lighter. But I'm gonna continue the fucking of ourselves and go 1.5 as well. But Van Hammer comes out looking in this match like the kicker from The Replacements. I thought he had a very kicker from The Replacements vibe when he walked out. How lucky that Rude and Austin happened to get paired together. This is one of those that I think was kind of storyline driven, where they kind of, they paired them together so it would be convenient, while I think others maybe have been random later. Knowing how lame Austin's been lately, I kind of feel bad for Rude. I think Rude should probably do his best to stay in the ring as much as possible throughout this match. The Alliance do work over Hammer for a pretty good bit, and they have him in rest holds and chin locks and all that kind of stuff. I do think, I like everybody else has said, Josh is the highlight of this match. I just don't think Rude and Austin really care to be in this tag match. Especially Rude. I think he's just kind of coasting along. But I do like Josh coming in with a lot of fire, lighting up Rude and Austin. I love the little log roll, little step thing that he does. It's so ridiculous looking. When Josh comes in, he hits Rude in the abs, and Rude actually no-sells it because he's so strong in that area of his body, which is absolutely absurd. He actually gets a good cheap shot in to get the momentum back for Josh when he's kind of giving it to them. Really liked that they worked over Josh for a little bit, and Paulie actually gets kind of pulled into the ropes at one point and squished in the ropes, and that's how Josh is able to get the momentum back. But a really good sneak win at the end for the Dangerous Alliance with the Rude Awakening. But yeah, like I said, I went 1.5.
All right, so 1 star and 3 1.5. Shiff, close this one out for us, please.
As you guys said about Big Josh, yeah, he looked really good in this match. Without the stupid ass gimmick where eventually he has bears bring him to the ring, I think he would have been better in WCW. There was, like how you guys said, they were basically saying how Van Hammer was a terrible wrestler with how like he does like the basic stuff. That's like my first note here is Van Hammer sucks. I loved how the DA, any combination that you see, they work well together as a team, and I thought that was very nice. I loved Drew just hitting the Rude Awakening and nothing happened. Basically, what you guys all mentioned. I'm the high man. I went 1 star and 3/4.
I mean, that's not too far off, Shiff. I can forget. That's an okay rating.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. But it was just to show off the DA and show like, we now have 2 of the 5 members have advanced to the Battle Royal.
All right, so Logan, the battle bow. So Logan, what is the total rating on that match?
Give me just 1 second.
Oh, you're usually
some
quicker on the
fucking
draw.
weird number.
Yeah, I'm usually ready. I'm sorry. 1.45. Sorry.
All right, stellar rating for that match. All right, moving on. We're going to go to our second match. Go to our second match of the night. Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Morton, who Jake was talking about.
Richard Morton, please.
Richard Morton. I was just thinking about when pre-recording Jake talking about the son of Morton. That guy was just getting that in my head.
I saw him recently live at the incredible NWA show.
Probably about
he faced Homicide. The match that would have fit right in on the Battle Ball card.
Well, it would seem appropriate that we would have a Morton in that show and this show, Jake, based on how great these shows are. But anyway, it's Rhodes and Morton taking on my personal favorite, Larry Zbyszko, and El Gigante. And for the life of me, guys, I don't think we talked about El Gigante once on this entire run of this show, have we?
Not yet.
Can't imagine why.
I know, but where the fuck?
That's the beauty of the Battle Bowl, Sean.
I know,
That's
it's just
the
like
beauty of Battle
randomly.
Bowl.
So this is match 3 of the night. So Larry and Gigante immediately, like I'm just popping the comedy of errors this could bring. Medusa, for me, she looks like my 1991 prom date with her one shoulder ruffle on her dress, because that's what my prom date looked like. Larry, standing in the middle of turnbuckle.
How much did you pay for that prom date?
I didn't pay for it at all. That's what you looked like back in 91 when you were 18, Chef. Unfortunately. I mean, I did buy her dinner and a pack of smokes, if that helps.
Bought her a pack of smokes. Good
The
God.
90s.
Larry is standing in the middle.
What was the dinner?
Oh, I took her to some nice steak. I took her to some nice steak place.
And then bought a pack of Marlboro Reds.
I think it was Marlboro Mediums, actually.
Unfiltered love.
Oh, jeez.
No, I Marlboro Mediums, so therefore she had to as well. See, that's what we did. I bought her a pack of smokes, but they were mediums, so I could bum her off for later. All right, moving on. So Larry is standing in the middle turnbuckle to see Gigante eye to eye, which I thought was very funny. Tony basically lies to us and says he would want El Gigante as his partner. I legit forgot Gigante was still around at this point because, like I said, he's been such a non-factor since sending Sid packing in Super Brawl 1. By the way, think through that. El Gigante ended Sid's WCW career before he went to the W. Imagine that. El Gigante beat Sid, and that was a stretcher match, I believe, correct?
And it was like 2 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unbelievable. As always for me, Larry's verbal cues in every wrestling move are 5-star, as well as him yelling at Gigante to beat up Dustin. Gigante basically hits 2 body slams, tags out. Larry works over Dustin with a slam and a neck breaker, then a spinning kick to the gut, which I love, and I know you guys hate, but I always pop when he does that because he just looks like this 80-year-old man doing a spin kick, which I think is great. Larry yells for Gigante knee, and Gigante ignores him. Larry then tosses Dustin on a bulldog attempt. He tags Gigante and yells at him to get him, and then he slaps Gigante. Gigante throws him back in and throws Larry into a double drop kick by Morton and Dustin for the 3. So I thought Larry was very funny in this match. I thought he's great at shit talking. He sucks at wrestling. And I'm also glad that they've been building this Cruncher gimmick and this feud with Wyndham, only for him to look like a fucking idiot. I went 3/4 of a star on this. This match was awful, but always 5-star Larry on the verbals for me. I love Larry Zbyszko on this show. Jake, I'll go to you first. What'd you think?
Yeah, similar. I thought this could have worked a little better maybe if they would have let the match go a little longer and built some heat to when Gigante is going to turn on him, but I guess there's not enough. Between Larry and him, there's not really much wrestling that can be done. So, but yeah, I love Larry. Every time he takes any kind of bump, he's like, oof, ooh, like anytime he bumps. I love JR. The funniest thing throughout the show, it's like a running thing, is you have all these goofy ass pairings. Like JR is always so dry, so he has to be like Mr. like dry sports commentator. He's like, well, I'm already worried about the communication issues you're gonna see here between Zbyszko and Gigante. Like he has to play it so straight, so ridiculous. Larry's like such an idiot because like he's so obsessed with bitching at Gigante that he can't get in. Like he's in the ring for 3 seconds and he just goes back to the corner and start complaining like he doesn't accomplish anything. I love when he screams bloody murder running into the ropes like they do that crisscross spine. He's just screaming for no reason. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot happened in the match, but I'm kind of with you, Sean. I went a 1/2 star just for the novelty of Larry complaining to El Gigante, but not a whole lot as far as an actual match to speak of here.
All right. Logan, how about you?
I shared in your Larry love, and I actually went one on it. I mean, I didn't really think it was great shakes either. I thought this was the like biggest style mismatch of any match throughout the night, in that Rhodes and Morton are actually good wrestlers and their opponents are not good wrestlers. So, but Larry's constant yelling is great. Morton running for the tag as soon as Gigante got tagged in for the first time was hilarious. It's really amazing that Gigante is that much bigger than Dustin Rhodes, because Dustin Rhodes is a big motherfucker. So it's kind of amazing to see them kind of stand next to each other and how much bigger he is. And then I love Gigante turning on Larry at the end, and it was very fitting for him having yelled at him the entire match. And then I thought it was pretty hilarious to see at the same time. But yeah, I went one just because I love Larry.
Yep, I love Larry. Matt, do you love Larry?
Oh, absolutely. I went one on it too, kind of out of sheer pity for these guys, a pity for Rhodes and Morton, really, because I couldn't bring myself to give them a match lower than one. Medusa I had was dressed like the doll that Chase Meridian has in Batman Forever. That's what she looked like to me.
Okay, that's on point. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Gigante's tights also said the giant on it. The spelt THEE. Two E's at the end of the. So it's a very specific
giant.
The giant.
Shakespearean.
Wow. The Shakespearean giant. Now there's a gimmick that somebody should use. But yeah, I mean, this match was a whole lot of nothing. Larry was pretty entertaining for it, screaming through the entire 5 minutes that the match happened, just completely ridiculous. So, and it's also, you probably shouldn't make a match featuring Larry on a team where he has to carry the workload in 1991. I'm just going to say that. That's probably not a good idea, but yeah, I went 1 star on it.
All right. Shiff, I think you like this match quite a bit, don't you?
I do.
Yes.
It's just like, so it's not for like the work rate of it. It's just, I don't know if Souza, between his Larry impersonation on Highway to the Impact Zone found on the Place to Be podcast network, or him talking like Larry here, I've now turned into a Larry fan of just how like absurd he is.
I'm so sorry.
By the way, Larry, I didn't get one Larry, not one Larry impersonation during that whole talk, Souza.
El Gigante, you giant bastard.
All right, there you go.
You giant bastard.
So I loved how Larry wasn't happy that Gigante was his partner, and then when they get out to the ring, he has to get on the middle turnbuckle to talk to him, which is just like these small little things that made me laugh for like no reason. And like on the initial tie-up, Larry just screams, "Come on!" like for no reason.
Right, he's so angry at him for nothing. Like he doesn't even give him a chance. Like
I'm gonna have to change our rating to 5 stars. I love Larry.
And then like Dustin was like, I love how like they put Deontay over as a monster, as a giant, because like Dustin was doing like a drop kick, had no effect. He tries a drop toe hold and no effect. And like when Deontay slammed Dustin, Larry's like yelling advice, and like, you know, Larry just was like whatever. And then Deontay was yelling at Medusa as well as well for some reason. I don't know why, but I loved how like Larry, like when he put his hands on him, that's when Deontay had enough and just threw him to a double drop kick, which Ricky, don't know if you guys realized, forgot he was a bad guy there and thought this was like 1986 with Robert Gibson there, because like he does like the finger guns and shit after they do the double drop kick.
Yeah, he did. You're right, he did.
So like, and then he's like you could see like him do it and like try to celebrate with Dustin, and it was like, oh shit, I'm a bad guy, and like we feuded because they brought this up during the match when Morton turned heel, it was on Dustin. So, and joined the York Foundation. I know way too much about 91 to 92 WCW, but I went 1.5 stars on this. I think most of it, like I said, it's not for the wrestling. It's just for Larry just making me laugh. And like, yeah, I couldn't tell you if Larry was a good or bad wrestler because he just takes me out. So, yeah,
listen, I know we all shit on Larry quite a bit, but I think ultimately we madly love Larry, and we hope he never changes because he brings the comedy gold every episode. And he sucks in ring, but goddamn it, I laugh every time he's in it. He's a true gem and a treasure in this show. So Logan, what was the final tally on that one?
That was going to be a .95.
Wow, we're off to a great start on this show. All right, our third match of the night is actually match 5. For the show, and it's kind of like a mini little Horseman reunion here from '87. So it's Arn Anderson and our world heavyweight champion Lex Luger taking on the computerized man of the '90s, Terry Taylor. I think is he the tailor-made man at this point? I don't remember, but I know this is right around that time. And podcast not favorite Tom Zink. So this one is very interesting to me. So this is the one where Missy is still caught on audio, and she goes, am I still on? And you can hear her say, "Can I run now?" And then the comment
can I get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, can I run now? And so maybe she had to go pee, or maybe perform fellatio on someone in the locker room. Maybe no. Anyway, Missy, if you're listening to this, I apologize, but you're not. We're okay. Taylor is clearly irritated that Z-Man is his partner. Seeing Harley Race talking to Arn on the apron kind of popped me a little bit because there's a partner. Could you imagine Harley Race managing Arn Anderson? Like that for me, that just seems like awesome. Taylor and Z-Man work really well together, fighting the heels and then sending them outside. Seeing Taylor take Luger out was something, as Tony thinks Taylor is an underrated great, by the way. The tag work by Taylor and Z-Man again is very good. Luger does an awesome press slam on Taylor, but Taylor gets a running snapmare and a neck breaker. A lot of shine for Taylor in this. And eventually Arn is finally tagged in. And again, Taylor gets a sliding pin attempt, a clothesline. Then he gets a second road splash on Arn. And then Z-Man comes in and then he trips in the ropes. He rebounds and it is tricked by Race. And there's a great DDT by Arn. And that gives the heels an advantage. So really good heel work here by the heels. Taylor gets a super hot tag. And he actually almost pins Luger multiple times. He gets a gut-wrench power bomb on Luger. Eventually, all four in the ring. Luger and Arn go for a double suplex on and Zank misses a kick to Arn, which is a botch. So then he does it again, and Arn actually sells it. Taylor comes off the rope to hit his forearm, but runs into Arn and a Luger pile driver for 3. So, I really enjoyed this match. And the shocking thing about it is Taylor was fucking awesome in this. I thought the heels bumped like hell for him. Zink, on the other hand, was sloppy, and he's just awful. I really enjoyed this one. I went 3 stars. And I think, again, we have watched a couple Taylor matches early on in this podcast. The 1991 Taylor, I don't think I've watched a bad match with him yet. He's really good, and I'll die on that mountain. I really enjoyed Terry Taylor in this match. He was a star in this one for me. Jake, I'll go to you first. What did you think? There's 3 stars for me.
Yeah, I'm a bit lower. I went 2.5. But I agree with you that very good for you guys' purposes doing a Dangerous Alliance podcast. That the people getting shine on this show are Big Josh, Terry Taylor, really
yes.
the Dangerous Alliance really getting featured a lot on the Battle Bowl. But yeah, he looked the best in this. I'm with you on that, Sean. Tony says it's weird because I feel like they're almost trying to start push. I don't know if this is just a weird Battle Bowl anomaly or if this really was where they were going with him, but it almost seems like he's going face. Like they kind of. it's almost like they're pushing him as a face in this match.
He had just broken up with Alexandra York. So he was kind of in that middle round. I don't think they were trying to figure out where he was going to go. I mean, ultimately, he stays a heel, becomes a tailor-made man, and ends up teaming with Craig the Hammer Valentine. So he doesn't really go much further. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because Tony says something like, it's kind of putting them over. He says, maybe because of the computer, Taylor is underrated, which I thought was funny. Like the computers holding him down. Like people think he's all computer. Just strange. But yeah, I'm with you. It's definitely the best we've watched so far as in like in-ring stuff, like good pace, better energy. Obviously you have so a decent amount of talent there. It was an interesting kind of dynamic though, because the way going in, I'm guessing the heel face thing, like Zink would have been our only face going in, but then they start making Taylor sort of a face, because it's kind of played up when they come out that it's like 3 heels and a face, correct?
Yes.
Am I reading that right?
Yep.
Yeah. But then that kind of goes by the wayside because Taylor starts playing face and Zink's a face. So maybe that's why this one works okay, is because it just ends up being more of a standard kind of heel face tag match. But I ended up going 2.5. I thought it was a pretty solid match. Nothing amazing though.
All right. I mean, I went higher just because I thought the Taylor shine in this match shocked the living shit out of me, and I just thought he was great in this. Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was the best match of the night. 30 seconds into it, so clearly better than the previous 2 matches we watched. I thought Zink tripping and running the ropes, and then Arn hitting him with that sick DDT was
so great.
That DDT was fucking incredible, and credit to Zink for selling it like sweet death. I know we often shit on that man, but I thought him selling it was really well done. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I thought Taylor looked really good, and now this is coming from me. I thought even Luger didn't look half bad, which coming from me is shocking for me to say. I'm shocked that I'm even saying it.
His selling for Taylor and taking that fucking power bomb? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I agree.
So, even Luger had his working boots on, which in late 1991 is not a thing that happens all that often. So, yeah, I went 2 3/4 on this. Clearly the best match we've watched so far. Even Tony said on commentary that this was the best match so far. So that's how
really hard to figure that out. It was a slam dunk on that one. Logan, what did you think?
The best match we'll watch so far. It's the best match of the show. Get it right.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one, but we'll talk about
it. Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry. Just bide your time. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought Taylor looked great, like y'all said. I don't think they presented Luger very well because he does take a lot in this match, and you would think the world champion would, get a majority of the offense and, maybe tag out when even he was maybe losing the momentum a little bit. But I started the match on a little bit of a negative, and I was like, if Zink and Taylor get any offense in this one, it'll be a shame. But I'm kind of glad they did because it made for a better match. There was a pretty gross knee to the spine on Luger at one point. I thought that was pretty gross looking. Taylor, I said Taylor must have been blowing whoever the Freebirds have been lately. Gets a lot in this match. So he's getting the Freebird treatment. Zink has a ton of energy. And he probably could be good, but he goes way too fast sometimes and gets real sloppy. He got real sloppy throughout the latter part of this match. I thought the pile driver at the end was pretty nasty looking, and it kind of looked really bad. I didn't think he really hit it as well as he could have. But like I said, I think they really didn't present their world champion like their world champion. I think they were kind of getting back at him like, oh, well, if you're going to, back out on us, we're going to present you. We're getting your ass kicked by Terry Taylor. But I thought the losers of the match looked a lot better in the match than the winners did. But I thought it was a pretty good match, and I went 3 as well with you, Sean.
Awesome. And yeah, so Shiff, if we went 3, 2 3/4, 2.5, I imagine you like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, Luger looked really nice, and this is the most I've seen Taylor come off as a legit threat. I loved, like you guys said, the DDT that Arn gave to Z-Man, which felt like RVD, like selling up an RKO. But I was just shocked at how much Taylor. I mean, I don't think Taylor ever could have been a main eventer, but he was always lower mid card to me, in my opinion. I know that's different with the UWF, which I've admittedly never watched, and I heard that's where he's great. But he could have been a mid card here. But I just love Luger and Arn tagging together, and they sort of have that, like, we're friends vibe because, like, they've said, as we discussed before, the DA and Luger was behind beating up Sting at the Clash of the Champions. So yeah, it was nice. And I will say, towards the end of the match, Taylor hit a nice gut wrench power bomb before Luger hit the pile driver. I went 3 stars as well. I really thought I was going to be the hot man on that, Sean. I was pleasantly shocked that me and you tied.
No, and Logan too. It's a really good match. And if you listen, I'll never say there's only 2 matches from a Terry Taylor that I would probably recommend. One is the one against Chris Adams in the UWF in '87, and it would probably be this one as well. Those are probably the 2 best Terry Taylor matches I've ever watched, and probably will ever watch ever again. So definitely go out of your way to check this one out if you're going to check something out on this show. This one's pretty good.
His match from Havoc that we watched was really
oh yeah, the one with Dustin.
Yeah,
you're right. So 91. It's interesting. I wonder why, like, this run on Taylor, like, maybe they should have put him in instead of Austin at the time, because he blows Austin out of the water in terms of his work rate. I don't know.
Oh God, here comes the York Foundation pod.
No.
Not 9 months of torture.
No, there will be no York Foundation pod. I promise.
I'm out.
I promise that won't happen. All right, so our next match.
2.85, by the way.
2.85. Okay. Our next match is our last proper tag team match we're going to talk about before we get into the battle bow. It's Sting and Sean Kidd favored Abdullah the Butcher taking on Bobby Eaton and Flying Brian Pillman. So immediately in my head, I'm like, this match has the makings of a classic because Abdullah the Butcher brings the goods every time, guys. I don't care what you say. So Abdullah, right out of the gate, pops me with his little jog to the ring. So he's like this like fucking little fat. He can barely move. So his feet like shuffle and he jogs to the ring and he attacks Sting with the kendo stick. Absolutely killed me. And Sting just stood there like an idiot waiting for him. Like, he saw him coming. He just stood there. Pillman came flying out and attacked Abdullah and attacked him with the kendo stick himself. Abdullah throws Brian off the ramp as Bobby then attacks Sting. Finally in the ring, Bobby works Sting leg, but he backdrops Bobby out of the ring onto the ramp and then hits it over the top flying clothesline and drop kick on the ramp. Back in the ring, Butcher attacks his own partner, allowing Bobby to get control. Abdullah drives a pencil into Sting's throat until Pillman drop kicks Abdullah. Sting catapults Bobby over the top rope to the floor. Then Sting throws Bobby into the post. Into the ring, Brian Pillman slams Abdullah, and the fucking cameras actually miss it while JR calls it on commentary. So for me, what a miss. Like, you have this little tiny little wanker Pillman slamming Abdullah. How do you miss that, right? Pillman does an awesome top rope splash to Abdullah. Bobby tags Abdullah and the ref calls bullshit. Sting then hits the worst tombstone pile driver known to man, and he almost kills Bobby Eaton. All 4 men in the ring, and then Abdullah does a full Nelson on Sting as ref is busy with Pillman. Cactus Jack comes running out with the kendo stick and hits Abdullah when Sting ducks. Sting drop kicks Cactus out of the ring, climbs the top rope, flying body press to Bobby for the 3. Cactus and Bobby then fight in the crowd, which is like the most confusing feud, like we've already brought up, that I don't know who the face is. I don't know what to believe. Then they also beat up the security, which I love. The words for this one for me was fun, very entertaining. Abdullah the Butcher is the gift that keeps on giving. I went 3 stars. Bobby, unfortunately, does all the work and takes the loss, but I love this match. I went 3. And I know I'm going to get shit on for it, but go ahead, Logan. I love this.
No, you won't.
I love this match. Go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, as I know you won't by anybody but me. Abdullah is an absolutely madman coming out to the ring with his big stick that he comes out with. He is on a rampage. Like we said earlier, he had taken out Buddy Lee Parker for Cactus's match before this. I thought Eaton and Pillman were a hell of a team on paper. If you see those 2 names with each other, you would think you're going to get an absolute banger of a match. But, like, I really don't think these idiots know how this pay-per-view concept worked. I don't think they understood it because they constantly fight each other. Why are they fighting each other? They're supposed to be teammates. They should want to win Battle Bowl. Why are they fighting
the Butcher, each other? He's an idiot.
I get Abdullah, but why is Bobby fighting Brian Pillman? Like,
because it's Battle Bowl and they don't care.
It's because it's babyface and heels. And one thing that I spoke about on Crock and Roll, which I love, which segues into this, is the babyface were all friends, and that's something like WWF never did. But with this, like, we had like Sting's friends, and Pillman was one of Sting's friends, so that's where it was.
But Eaton should want to have as many Dangerous Alliance people in the Battle Royal. I'll die on the hill. It is fine. I thought this match was stupid, and I thought it wasted Sting, Eaton, and Pillman. And I thought it was awful. I thought it was just an abysmal mess, just all around, and I went dud on it.
Wow.
Wow.
Really? I don't.
Dud.
Wow. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I
Wow.
thought it sucked. I thought it was a mess.
What, Jake? What did you think of this?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle, leaning more towards the side that I enjoyed it. But I do kind of have some. But I do kind of. I'm in the middle, leaning more towards not giving it a dud. But no, but I get what Logan's saying though, because like on one hand, I enjoyed it because I felt like this match of all the ones we watch, I feel like does the lethal lottery concept like justice? Because first of all, you have like two fun teams. Like you have Eaton and Pillman, who are a cool team for like, you know, wrestling reasons. You have Sting and Abdullah, which is just like an insane team. Like just having Abdullah and Sting just is insane on paper. But like I like that Abdullah brings like the chaos to this. Like you don't know what the hell is, because he doesn't like Sting because he hits him, but then he like hits Pillman, so like he just doesn't give a shit. He's just going after all the faces. Pillman absolutely cracks him in the face, though. Like at the beginning, like Pillman gets a stick, it just hits Abby right in the fucking head,
Really
like brutal. The brawl in the beginning is really fun, but like to Logan's point, like I like the idea, and I like what they were doing with it because again, it just had this like energy and chaos that a lot of the other matches didn't, and I felt they were really using the dynamic of all these guys to like try and tell a story in this, like Sting having to face all the odds, Pillman's like conflicted. But to Logan's point, I think it did get a little bit too messy. Like they didn't execute it perfectly. Like I think like Bobby trying to tag Abdullah was fucking stupid. Like what are they even doing? Like that was goofy. So I get what Logan's saying. Like there are a few spots in this where I don't think it was executed perfectly, but I did like what they were going for. Like I at least appreciated that they were going for it in this match as opposed to just giving us some flat, boring ass match like we got earlier in the show. So I did like that. So I ended up going 2.5 on it. But I do get Logan's criticisms. And my only other thing is like the count at the end was so fast. Like the ref it's almost like he was like they paid him off. Like he counted so quickly. Ridiculous, but
he's probably afraid that he's probably afraid Abdullah was gonna kill him or something. He just want to get out of
Dodge. Hit him with the fucking spork.
Yeah.
My dud is out of disappointment, not because it's actually probably a bad match, but it's just I'm disappointed by, like Jake said, it should have been great considering the 4 guys in it. So
it was great. Matt, what did you think?
It wasn't great.
It was in fact great, says I. The thing I enjoyed most about it was what Jake said, the chaos of it. Weird that a guy who's on an ECW podcast likes chaotic matches, but I think this was super heated. I think this was the most heated thing on the show to this point. I think the crowd reacted to this match in a way that they just didn't react to any of the other matches we had watched so far to this point. And I just think, yeah, it did get a little convoluted and messy at the end, sure, but it was even so, it was still super fun to watch. And I think fun is, the right description for this match. And I also think, look, it's one of the only matches on this show that actually features a feud that we have covered in the past before, meaning, Sting and Bobby Eaton. So that makes perfect sense given with the Dangerous Alliance stuff going on. So I also went 3 stars on this super fun match.
Nice. And Shiff, close this one out. I'm sure you love this one too.
Oh God, it like warms my heart so much to hear that you guys, besides Logan, loved it. No shade. I thought I was gonna be I thought I was gonna be like 1 versus.
Besides
4
Logan,
right
who
here.
fucking hated it.
Yeah, it's a dud. It's a dud. It's a fucking dud. You're
not trying to.
I don't get it.
I understand. Hey, I've died on many a hill, so it's fine. First off, I love Sting's face paint. Like I said, he's my favorite wrestler, so it's yeah. But I loved how they were all battling in the front, and somehow they didn't bring this up, but Abdullah has a pencil and he was stabbing Sting with it.
Yes, he was.
So like he grabbed it off
Ross's pencil.
Yeah, he's like, oh, what's he doing? And like, I just love Abdullah is just like a madman, and Bobby like straight up throws Sting into Abdullah at one point. And I'm a little upset they missed like Pillman, who was, I'm pretty sure the former light heavyweight champion at this time, slammed Abdullah and they completely missed it. But Sting, I will say one negative is that Sting nearly killed Bobby with a tombstone, like towards the end of the match, but it was bad. Then Cactus, hit Abdullah. I went 3.25, but it was just for the story. Like and like you guys said, that the pace was awesome.
All right, so Logan, take your dud out of it. What did the rest of us give this overall?
I'm not taking the dud out of it.
Well, you can't really score a dud because there's no score for it. So just do the other one.
What the hell are you talking about? Damn
It's a
dud.
0.
I'm gonna divide it by 5, even if one of them's a 0. It is a 2.35.
That is an absolute disgrace of a rating.
Because y'all are absolutely wrong.
This is an
It
absolute.
was convoluted from the beginning. They were
this is a
fighting each other. It doesn't make sense.
That is a
Doesn't make
tragedy of a
sense.
rating for this match. Absolutely, I'm calling a 3. We're going 3. I
Look,
call it.
how
doesn't
dare
make
how
sense.
dare you
I-
take
I'm
the
just-
joy away from the one goddamn thing I enjoyed on this show?
Hey, I'm pulling host privilege on your ass again. We're going to be on this match.
You can take their host privilege and shove it up your ass.
Oh, goodness.
Fucking love it. Love it.
Imagine if these two are teamed up in the Battle Bowl. They'll never coexist.
I
Love it.
They have
wouldn't
to
fight my
record 2
fucking
more
partner. I would
episodes
try to
tonight.
get to the main event.
I just love that you gave me an excuse to say host privilege again. I haven't been able to say it in a while, so thank you for that. All right, so we're gonna close it out. So we got all our participants for the battle bow. I can't not say battle bow now. So the first thing is everyone walks out on the stage and it's like really bad game show music. Like Capetta's announcing them. He's announcing the rules and the 20 participants. It's like the Price is Right as they walk to the ring music. It's like awful. It's like as bad as the freaking fireworks they use when they open this show.
Do we think that was do you think that was the dub or was that
I wasn't sure. Listen, WCW used really bad music back in the day. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was yes. It was so bad. Yes. And then the other note I made is what a potpourri of talent in this one. I said both fucking Patriots are in it, and so is a fucking Freebird. Sting comes out last, which is interesting, after the world champion, after Arn and after Rick Rude. So I'm just going to give a couple highlights here. Arn slams Steamboat out on the ramp. Vader and Kazmaier was something I never want to see ever again. Vader clubs Steamboat over the top and then slams him. Liger looks very, very lost. Vader presses Steamboat to the ramp, then tosses him back in. Tommy Rich is in this. He is the first to go to ring 2. Bagwell is the second one to go to ring 2. And imagine watching that match in ring 2 while trying to pay attention to ring 1. I know everyone wants to watch Bagwell versus Rich. Mr. Hughes does the worst press slam ever to chip on the Bagwell into ring number 2. Liger and Morton actually get a little bit of shine in ring 2 facing off, and they ended up eliminating each other. Sting and Rude finally go at it, and they fall into ring number 2. So it ends up being Luger and Vader as the last two in ring number 1, and then Vader does a splash to the corner, and then Luger hits a nice clothesline to send Vader to ring 2. So you don't really get to ever talk about Luger versus Vader. Probably an underrated thing that could have happened. Probably would have been great in 1989 when Luger was actually good. So Luger wins ring 1. And then so we go to the ring 2. So Bagwell and Rhodes are eliminated by Steve Austin. Vader is eliminated by a double clothesline by Steamboat and Sting. The final 4 in the ring are in ring 2 are Austin, Rude, Sting, and Steamboat, which makes sense because that's the feud and they all go at it. I thought it was really good stuff here. Rude accidentally clotheslines Austin over the top rope when Steamboat ducks. Steamboat eliminates Rude with the skin to cap, but Rude pulls him outside the ring as Steamboat tries to flip back into the ring. So continued. I do like this is like the only part they're really building to this feud. Like Steamboat and Rude have been kind of the story, and they're still building here, which I really, really like. And so there you go. So it's Sting and Luger. So Luger goes over to ring 2. And it's a big time matchup feel on this. This was WCW's big money match at the time. We had the Attack back at the Clash, so it was good to see these two here. And this is also going to be your Super Brawl main event, as everyone knows. So Luger kills Sting with a clothesline and arrogantly does the Stinger yell, which I thought was pretty cool. Luger throws Sting to the ramp and then distracts the ref. Harley goes to punch Sting, but Sting slams Race on the ramp. Luger goes outside on the ramp and pushes Sting off to the ramp into the barricades. Sting comes back in and they fight outside. Back in ring puts Luger on top rope and kicks him. Harley comes in and he gets suplexed and Sting misses a Stinger splash. Luger tosses him out of the ring, but Sting holds the ropes. Comes back in and he attacks Luger. He does one of those face slams to the mat. The crowd's going nuts. He clothesline and pushes Luger out of the ring, and Sting wins the Battle Bowl. Some might say having these two going at it here was kind of wasted potential of the main event where they wanted to go, because most of the time you don't like to see them touch before the main event. But I thought it was okay. At the time, this just seemed like the right way to end this pay-per-view with Sting going over Luger. And I think it built the suspense to the Money World title match. And once it got to ring 2 and eliminations happened quick, and we got to the final 5, I thought it was really good. But the rest of it was kind of shit. I actually went 2.5. I really enjoyed the latter part of this. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. The first part sucked. Second half I enjoyed. Matt, I'll go to you first. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a super tough match to rate, because, I mean, it's kind of tough to rate Battle Royals to begin with. And I did think once they got to, the final 4 or 5, like you said, I do think it picked up. But boy, did it take a lot to get there. Good Lord. I just thought three-quarters of this match I just found super boring, super, just milk toast, standard Battle Royal stuff. And, I mean, they did change it up a little bit with the 2 rings, but it was ultimately the same thing. You're still trying to throw somebody out of a ring into another ring. So I thought parts of it were exceptionally boring. I did like the Liger-Morton spots that they had in ring 2. I thought that was pretty good. And I did feel like, save for a couple of brief moments, I thought the crowd was kind of cooked. They popped for the Sting Luger stuff, and they popped for Sting and Rude throwing bombs. But I thought for the rest of it, they were kind of just sitting on their hands for a lot of it. So yeah, I ended up scoring the same thing like you. I went 2.5 on it too. But yeah, it's a tough match to rate because it's a Battle Royal, and I think Battle Royals just as a whole are kind of tough matches to gauge as far as a rating. So 2.5 seems right. This Battle Royal didn't really blow my mind or anything, so right down the middle made sense to me. 2.5.
Yeah, I think it was a tale of two things. The first half really sucked. The second half was really good at telling the story and where they wanted to go, and I think that's why the second half is what sold it for me, to be honest. Logan, what did you think?
Yeah, I went the same as y'all, 2.5. I thought basically the same things. The first half is a mess, and the latter half is definitely a pretty good finish and ending to this show. The match rules are far too complicated and continue to change throughout the match to kind of fit the narrative that they're going for. I've always thought that about this Battle Royal portion of this. Morton and Champion choosing to change rings instead of actually being thrown over there was definitely a choice, and not a good one. Luger's clothesline to Vader to kind of win ring 1 was pretty awesome. I thought that was great. This might be kind of a turning point for Austin. Austin finishes in the final 5. They obviously booked him to get to that point, so maybe they're turning a new leaf on the treatment of Austin in this pod. So maybe he'll be good going forward, but I guess we'll see. I like that Rude actually accidentally knocks Austin out. I also like that part, and then I also kind of like how he pulls Steamboat out to kind of win ring 2 for Sting. And then I just thought the match was a little too long and maybe a little too convoluted in the middle. But I did think it finished strong, and I do think it was good that it came down to Sting and Luger. So I enjoyed it, but it could have been a little shorter, and I think it was a little messy at the beginning.
Yeah, this Battle Royal was 30 minutes, by the way. That's how long it was, 30 fucking minutes. Jake, what did you think?
Yeah, you guys nailed it. I went a bit lower too, because like y'all said, it's always hard to rate these. I thought the Battle Royal part at the beginning was actually a bit worse than the standard Battle Royal level, just because I feel there was even more standing around, like your guys' favorite Big Todd. I saw him a few times just literally standing there not knowing what the fuck to do. Like they weren't even doing a good job of
not brand for Big Todd, Jake.
Right. They weren't even I felt like they couldn't even do a lot of the guys looked like they couldn't even do the standard pair off with somebody. I felt like half of them were just standing there doing absolutely nothing. I just wanted to look at my phone instead until I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna mentally check out till we get to the part that matters, because that's kind of what you're telling me here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt there were parts where I think the guys were getting confused because they're so used to the over-the-top Battle Royal that they forgot that they're supposed to be throwing the people in the other ring. So they're trying to throw people out of the ring. So that's kind of a mess. Mr. Hughes looked like he jumped into a pool. He was sweating his ass off in his white shirt. It was transparent by the end. But yeah, the ending was all good. You kind of set on the Dangerous Alliance versus Sting and Steamboat. You get the Rude and Steamboat stuff that's kind of going to set them up sort of long term. You get Sting and Luger. So it's typical of these kind of Battle Royals. It's like you said, Sean, the first part sucks, and then usually the ending is kind of okay. So it always makes it difficult to rate. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it 2. The ending was pretty good. Did what it needed to do. The beginning sucked ass. So it's just one of these things where it's just not. It makes you wonder like how this became such a standard in wrestling. I guess because you get to see all the guys, but it's just never seems to be fun to watch. Like I don't know, it's like once you've seen Royal Rumble, like a better way of doing it, it's always hard to go back to these and watch like a standard battle royal where it's just like a fuck ton of dudes going at one time. So I don't know, 2 stars for me, I guess.
All right, Shiff, close it out with your 4-star rating.
You called it.
Of course I do.
I love this match so much.
Jesus Christ.
Vader looking dominant at the start was pretty nice. Like how you said how he dominated Ricky Steamboat. And Steamboat selling is amazing, of course. JR saying that Paulie looks nice in his dad's suit always makes me laugh no matter how many times I hear it. I loved how Sting and Rude literally battled all the way to ring 2. And Sean, I even had the note that Vader and Luger wrestle here, and I even have like in parentheses, I think this is the only time they wrestle because they're like ships passing in the night. Because when Luger comes back to WCW, that's when Vader is fired and Luger's thrown on the babyface War Games team. And this feels like when it's the Dangerous Alliance for Steamboat and Sting that we really start to see Rude transition to more of the feud with Steamboat here. Because like I know Sting and Rude still have like their big matches as we'll talk about in the next couple episodes because they hype it up for the Omni. But with Rude like eliminating Steamboat like by pulling him out, like it's like, oh, like, you know, and then like Rude hits the Rude Awakening on Sting and Sting's just laying there for dead. And I love Luger and Sting going back and forth. I really thought JR and Tony did a great job of telling the story here. So like, you know, with hindsight, they're like, these are going to be the wrestlers of the 90s, which, you know, they were both pegged to be. And, you know, some people say that didn't really turn out. But they thought they were going to feud for all of 1992. And that wasn't the case because Luger is done by February. Maybe that's where they were going there. And my favorite part is when they're battling on the outside here. And the guy for some reason bought like a toddler to the match, and you can see when like Luger whips Sting into the railing, the guy like pulls the baby back. It has stuck with me rent free in my head for like 20 years of just how absurd, and like it makes me laugh every time I see it. Like I'm gonna have to find the timestamp and go back and tell you guys, but it just makes me laugh because he looks terrified of the guy who has brought this baby to this loud ass wrestling show. Finally starts showing concern when the wrestlers are 3 feet away from him. But it just makes me laugh. You know, I love like Sting going for the Stinger Splash and Luger missing and almost eliminating himself, which actually they try to sell it like Sting would have been eliminated and he would have lost. But they said that he has to go to the floor and he just went in between the ring. That's how many times I've watched this damn match. But I love like Sting like throwing Luger over and like he's just exhausted, and it's a great ending. We set up like I know they hadn't said that the winner of Battle Bowl gets a world title shot. And I know that's what we were talking about earlier in the podcast. And hell, with the Royal Rumble, they weren't even saying that the winner gets a title shot. But it feels like this is where we're going. You know, the franchise Sting, because you guys mentioned that everyone came out to this generic music. The only wrestler that got his music to come out was Sting. And that even happened during the tag team matches as well. I don't know if you guys noticed. The only person who got his music played was Sting. So Sting is the franchise of WCW. Amazing. 4 stars. Just an amazing show. I can't, like, someone cut me off because I'll keep waxing poetically about
all right,
it.
Shiff.
Yeah,
Put
you're
your
done. You're done.
pants
Speechless.
back on. Put your pants back on. Zip
Wait,
up.
what did you go on at Shiff?
4 fucking stars.
Idiot. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just playing.
So, Logan, what would that bring that total? Well, I guess he made up for the fact that you made our tag team match a dud, so I think he made up for it here. So
Call it even.
That's because it was a dud.
it wasn't a dud. You're a fucking dud.
2.7.
2.7. All right, so that closes out Starrcade 91. And, you know, I'm not going to go around and ask everybody's final thoughts. I think we're pretty clear on where we stand with this. Shiff thinks it's an all-time great show. The rest of us are kind of meh in the middle. I would probably say it's probably like a 4.5 out of 5 is probably where I would go, somewhere in that 5. It's kind of like a Highway to the Impact Zone. It's most of their pay-per-views.
You mean out of 10?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
4.5 out of 10. Sorry, my bad. But it reminds me of like a lot of the Impact shows where you're just kind of in the middle, and it's like, man, it's there. You don't hate it, but it's kind of in the middle. But anyway, now the awards. This is going to be hard. So,
God.
Matt Souza,
Ugh.
least dangerous. And remember, it's got to be a member. It's got to be a member of the Dangerous Alliance. Who is?
I know the rules. Least dangerous. Let's go. I'm torn between Larry Z and Austin, but Larry Z.
It can't be Larry. Larry was comedy gold, Matt.
Excuse me, this is my pick.
God damn it.
I just mentioned Larry Z. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to pick him, because I am in fact going to pick Austin yet again. Larry entertained me in a way that Austin didn't, so I will go Austin.
Austin's on a tear right now. Jake, least dangerous. Out of all the dangerous member lines you saw tonight, he would be your least dangerous one.
I'd probably go Austin, but I don't think he was really necessary. Honestly, if Rude wouldn't have had the shine at the end of the show, I probably wouldn't Rude, because he's supposed to be almost like the leader, but he kind of saved it in the end. But if I was just going on the earlier match, I'd go Rude. But I'll probably go Austin just because he didn't get the shine that Rude got at the end of the show.
Well, I'm going to shock all of you, and I am going to go with Rick Rude as my least dangerous, because I thought Rick Rude absolutely phoned it in tonight. Shiff, how about you?
I'm going to throw a curveball here and go with Bobby. He didn't make it. He didn't make it to Battle Bowl, and he wasn't as entertaining as Larry. So,
Logan?
So how are we going to settle a tie?
I don't know. I'll figure it out. Who you going with?
That may sway who I'm going with.
Host privilege.
It's definitely not Austin. Austin made the final 5 of the Battle Bowl, so it's definitely not Austin. I'm gonna go with
fuck myself.
I'm gonna go with Shiff and go Eaton. He failed to make the Battle Bowl match, and he was in the worst match, so I'm gonna go with Bobby.
Okay, so I guess we'll just tie it tonight. I'm not gonna do a tiebreaker on that.
Oh,
I won't pull host privilege, although I would.
Pull up the bylaws of the podcast.
Well, as keeper of the books, I'm putting Eaton.
If I'm going, if I am host privilege, I'm going with Austin over Eaton. You can't do that to Eaton. That's not right.
What did Austin? Fuck you guys.
That's not right. That's not right.
All right.
What the fuck did Austin do? Whatever. Go ahead.
Fucking Austin was in a shit match. Eaton was in a 3-star classic.
Yeah, and he was better than Rude was.
Shiff, do you see what your favorite pay-per-view has done to us?
My Cardinals is tearing this family apart.
All right. On the flip side,
lethal.
Most dangerous for me, Larry Zbyszko, for all the wrong reasons. Logan, how about you?
This one's hard as well. Damn.
Remember, I said Larry for the wrong reasons.
I'll go Larry for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I don't really think the Dangerous Alliance stood out tonight, so I'll go Larry.
Well, that's the bottom line for me tonight, is that we'll talk about how did this progress the Alliance story. This wasn't about them at all tonight. This is all about Sting and Luger. So, Matt, what did you think?
I will go Arn for the sole purpose of him being in the best match. Or one of the best matches, I should say.
That's a good one. Okay, Jake.
I'm going to go Larry just because it seems like the perfect show for Larry to get most dangerous. By the only chance he's going to ever have. So, you know what? Larry, Battle Bowl is a perfect Larry MVP show.
That is a very good call. Shiff, how about you?
I'll just say Larry as well.
Wow, Larry Zbyszko, probably the one and only time he'll ever get the most dangerous on this show ever.
Oh, what do you mean?
But I'm just saying, because we normally shit on Larry. He never wins, ever. We'll see. Match of the night for me, I think the majority for me, it was the Abdullah the Butcher match. Matt, how about you?
Yep.
Jake?
I'd probably lean that way, though. It's kind of tied with because there were such different matches. I'm kind of tied between the Luger and Arn match and that one, but I'd probably lean Sting Abdullah match.
All right, Shiff. Well, I guess, Logan, your vote's irrelevant because Abdullah match is going to win at this point, so I'm going to move on from you.
Wow.
Good Lord.
No, Logan, go ahead. Logan, seriously, what was your match of the night? Even though it won't win, what was your match?
Well, the overall rating winner is Luger Arn and Taylor Zink, so that's the correct answer.
Yeah, that is not the correct answer.
It is the correct answer.
The majority rules, and you have the rest of us saying you are
Your
wrong.
face is host privilege.
You're wrong. You know what? Fuck
Things
you.
are breaking down here in Norfolk.
Why can't we be friends?
All right, Shiff, I assume your match is the Abdullah match too.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, it's not the Battle Royal?
Yeah.
Not the battle.
Yeah, I thought you would say.
The
battle.
I didn't know that I could say the Battle Royal. Yeah, Battle Royal.
It's a match on the show. Of course you can say it.
I mean, you're wrong.
For Shiff, it's like it's ascended to another plane above a normal match.
He just doesn't want Sean to yell at him is the problem.
You're not wrong, Jake. I legit could watch that match like at least like once a week or something. That's how much I love the match. Like it's absurd.
I'm just imagining Shiff like in a fugue state, just watching on like in the Clockwork Orange with the thing with his eyes open, just watching Battle on repeat.
Like I legit would just have it on as background noise at different points in my life. Like during fantasy drafts, I would just have it on the whole pay-per-view and would just
Okay, well, there's no rhyme or reason for this one whatsoever based on our awards tonight. Worst match of the night also went to our most dangerous. Zbyszko match is 100% the worst match. Jake, worst match for you?
Yeah, I guess it's got to be that one. Even though you know what? Honestly, I'm going to go that first. I know it doesn't make any sense with the ratings, but the Larry match is more entertaining. I'd legit say that the first match was worse. So You know what? Fuck it. Throw the map out the window. All
right,
it's Battle Bowl, baby.
Matt, what about you?
These awards are completely meaningless. Well,
let's be honest. This pay-per-view's fucking meaningless tonight.
Yeah, I will go with the Larry Z match.
All right, Logan.
Sting, Abby, Eaton, Pillin.
Oh, fuck you. Shiff?
the Larry match.
All right. And last and certainly not least, on a scale of what do we do? 1 to 5? Is that what we usually do? Yeah. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, where is this watch of the Dangerous Alliance, and how does it rate in their journey? For me, this is probably one of the lower ones because this doesn't really do anything for the Alliance. The only thing it really does is continue to build Steamboat and Rude for like 2 seconds at the end. I'm actually going a 1. And the journey for them tonight absolutely sucked. Matt, how about you?
Can I go 0?
You can, yes.
0.
Okay. Jake?
I go 1 for, like you said, Sean, with it had the Rude Steamboat stuff. But other than that, yeah, it wasn't about the DA tonight.
Nope, sure wasn't. Shiff.
I'll go 2.
Okay.
You would.
Would you like to explain?
Yeah, we see how the DA is like the Rude and Steamboat's transitioning. We saw some good tag work, even though the matches weren't that great, and it shows that any members of the DA can tag together. As we saw Rude and Austin, as we haven't seen that combination a lot on there. We saw that Larry can annoy the piss out of anyone, including someone who doesn't understand English. So yeah, 2.
Logan?
Yeah, I'll go 1 as well. It didn't do much for the Dangerous Alliance overall.
All right, so let's really think about these ratings tonight. Like, we're all over the board, and it's literally the worst the Alliance has looked in the history of this podcast. And Shiff, you think this is like the greatest pay-per-view of all time?
Yeah, I do. It's like one of my favorite WCW pay-per-views.
What a fucking hot mess to end this show.
I will say we did go 1 on episode 2 as well. So they have.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. So they have
Okay.
before.
I didn't. I went 0 on this one. So.
All right. Well, with that, we will end this absolute disaster hot mess of a pay-per-view. It's fun to talk about, but God damn it, what a fucking mess. Before we go, Jake, thanks for jumping on. We appreciate you as always jumping on, and you will be joining us when we get to the January Clash. So hopefully we have a little bit better stuff to talk about that night. But anything you would like to plug, and Jake only gets to plug since he's our guest star tonight. Only plug of the night.
So you could catch me doing the Ruthlessly Aggressive podcast here in the North-South feed. Of course, I do Highway to the Impact Zone on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, as well as YouTube Roulette. that we do together. This whole crew, actually. So check it all out.
This whole
Joy
crew.
to come and cover.
Yeah, it's almost like we like each other despite the pod tonight.
We didn't
I
even
think
have to. We didn't even have to do plugs. Jake covered it all.
He did. That's why
Right.
this podcast is great, is because we all get along, but we can still shit on each other when we have to. I think it's great. That's why I love doing this show.
It was a pleasure covering the Lethal Lottery with you guys.
Yes, it was a pleasure having you. So, so guys, go out of your way. Listen to all the podcast feeds, Place to Be Nation here on North South Connection, the Jenny Position, the Pop feed, where we're actually starting to drop some new content over there. So it's been kind of like in a dry spell, but we got some new stuff coming out over there. So give that a listen as well. So with that, on our next episode, we will jump right into 1992. So we are officially done with 1991. We're going to be back with episode 10, and we're going to pop in for January of 92. So for Matt Souza, Logan Crossland, Scott Shiflett, and Jacob Williams, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Sometimes I don't speak right, but yet I know what I'm talking about. Why can't we be friends? 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 I know you're waiting for the